Hi, this is James from the Wheel Repairman and Stephen. Today we're going to be looking at this bumper corner 3 Series BMW Tourer. As you can see, we've got paint peel, lacquer peel and paint peel. So obviously it's had a repair done before. It could have had a scratch or something, you know, it doesn't seem to be anything serious. There's no filler in it. So it's obviously had a repair done at some point, but I don't know, stone chips, water's probably got into it underneath the paint and it slowly lifted it off. Also there is a scratch and a bit of a chunk out into the plastic, a bit of a chunk out of the plastic, so we're going to address that as well. As if I come round here, there is also a bit of paint lift and flake just here as well. So like I said, I'm James from the Wheel Repairman. We cover the Midlands. Today's just going to be a tutorial video. I'm not going to go over everything in great detail. I'm just going to skim over the top, basically explaining what smart repair is and how we come out as a mobile service and address something. Well, address like bumper scuffs and wheel repairs, calipers, window tints, windscreen chips, that sort of stuff. This is my first video, and I'm going to start with something light, which is just a small bumper scuff. They are deep. Okay, so what we're going to do is now we're going to prep the main area. With this, we're going to use an orbital sander, which with a 320 grit sand disc on. Basically, this does two things. One, it's clean up the surface, but it's also going to smooth out all of this area. It's very rough, and we're going to look at trying to 320 out this scratch here. I'll do this process first, like I say, with a mini orbital sander. Okay, so 320 wasn't really aggressive enough to flatten it down, just because how thick the paint was previous underneath. So we've just 180'd it, 180 grit, basically just feathering off the edges. So the idea is that it makes it look cloudy. Then you can run your hand over and feel if it's smooth, there's any lumps or edges that want coming out. We would address that more towards the finishing with a finer grit. At the moment, it's just to take out the damage. We've done it also around the side and remove that damage around the side. Stephen is now tackling this bit by hand, just with it being in the crease, and trying to stick the DA in there would probably cause more damage than good. So it's just better just to smooth it out and keep feeling it by hand. So at the minute, Stephen's doing this with a 180, which he will then go to a 320. Okay, so we've 320'd this area and smoothed it out now. It's nice and smooth. But what we have noticed is, we spoke at the start of the video, we spoke about this area, the one that Stephen's prepping with the 180, but then we noticed as we move further along, there's paint flake everywhere. The minute you rub it, it's coming off in chunks. Now this is usually caused to because of the surface not being keyed up properly. Again, we're just smart repairers, so we're not, you know, ideally you go to a body shop, bumper off, and this would have a, you know, strip down and a full it in a booth, but that's not what the customer wants. Customer just wants a smart repair. The car's quite old, they're not really that fussed about it. They just want it to look a bit more presentable. So we're smart repairers, so we'll come out and we're going to paint this pretty much now half the bumper, I would say. Okay, so now we've prepped our area. Before we start masking up the car and getting ready to lay paint, we also need to find the paint code. On a BMW, it's located in the door shop. I'm not going to show the camera too much of the VIN plates on there, but basically there's a paint code in there. It usually comprises of letters and numbers, and it'll also have a name. Obviously, being German, it's a bit German. I think it's a space grey metallic, which obviously probably being, you know, space grey. But yeah, there's a code, and then we have our own paint mixing system, which we then mix up the paint. Okay, so finally we've masked up, and basically we've now laid a uni primer, filler primer. When we say uni, basically it can act like an etch, and it's also good for plastics. So it adheres well to plastics as well. So Stephen's prepped all that area nicely in there. That's all cleaned up, and then we've got this area here. As you see here, basically this is feathering. So once we've laid the filler prime, we just quickly wet sand it again, and it makes it look fluffy like a cloud. And the idea behind that is that it's smooth, and then for our paint to go on and we don't get no hard edges in our paint and lacquer. So now we've laid the base coat, and we've obviously faded out next step now is to do the lacquering. Okay, so there we have it. Now it's lacquered in a 2K lacquer, just more durable than 1K acrylics. So we've painted it, colour matched it off the code of the car, and then we've lacquered it. And that's it. That's why I'm going to stop with the video. The reason I'm going to stop there with the video is because there's other processes that now we have to do once it's dry, as in flat, polish, obviously make sure there's no overspray anywhere, and clean everything else up, and obviously where we've been working. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to check us out, we've got a website called The Wheel Repairman. We are called The Wheel Repairman Limited. We've got a Facebook page. I'll put a link in the description below. On the Facebook page we post up all our before and afters on wheels, paintless dent repair and stuff. So through the week you get to see ideas of, see the videos that we do and get an idea of what it is we do as a mobile service. Right, I'm out. Cheers.